Many middle-class Rhode Islanders and Americans believe that the DAC is unfortunately stacked against them. And this conference has the chance not only to pass legislation to make sure the Americans know that Congress is working for them, not for a privileged few. And one of the best ways I believe that the middle class can be supported in this crisis is continuing unemployment insurance. That is why we should continue the same policy we had in 2011 through 2012. There's absolutely no reason, particularly to someone in Rhode Island or Michigan or Montana, that they should be treated differently than someone in 2011 when they've lost their job. And at the very least, states with high unemployment shouldn't lose jobless benefits unless it will have an outsized impact on unemployed in that state and their local economy. UI is the best bang for the buck that we have when it comes down to helping our economy and providing relief to millions of Americans. UI helps millions of Americans and their families as they search for a job in one of the toughest job markets since the Great Depression, with only one opening for every 4 unemployed workers. Moreover, providing UI helps improve the local economy as recipients are able to pay their rent, buy food, and other necessities. Some would choose to unravel this unemployment insurance system by reducing weeks, limiting its effectiveness, and changing the fundamental nature of the program. I don't believe there's a policy rationale for slashing away at the unemployment insurance system by reducing weeks and placing onerous burdens and barriers to the program. Slashing at the UI system doesn't make it easier for Americans to find jobs. It only makes it really harder. If there is concern that Americans are taking advantage of UI, Congress can and should make important reforms like strengthening reemployment and reassessment services that help the unemployed with their work search and ensure that they are meeting their obligations. We should also give more flexibility to states to prevent layoffs in the first place by offering robust work-sharing programs. UI is one of the best countercyclical programs we have. Federal support has been a direct lifeline to 18 million Americans since 2008, and if you include households, that number climbs to 50 million Americans. These households represent a broad swath of Americans because job losses have happened at every level and segment of our economy. Continuation of UI benefits has in the past been, as my colleague Mr. Levin pointed out, classified as emergency spending. Unfortunately, some in Congress have now demanded that we offset UI. This blunts the economic impact of this tool. If Congress decides ultimately to offset UI and the payroll tax cut, it should be done by asking the wealthiest in our nation to contribute their fair share, either through a millionaire surtax or by giving up lucrative tax loopholes, and at least paying the same rate as the middle class. This makes sense in terms of policy and plain fairness. This conference committee must produce a reasonable and balanced bill to get my support. Millions of Americans are relying upon us to get to work, provide certainty and relief to them and to their families. And I hope Congress can and will reach these goals. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.